Hello, everybody. Gary Stuckey here. I'm going to be talking about Steve Perry and Journey, of course, today, and remembering their album Frontiers that was released 41 years ago today. And I've been thinking about some things now. I asked some people what were their favorite songs from that album. I know it's hard, and I said something like, you can't say all of them, and just kind of playing because it is hard. But I've had my favorite song is Faithfully, that not just of Journey, but all time favorite song ever. And of course, Faithfully is on the album Frontiers. And, beautiful song, powerful. And what I've been thinking about is how Steve's voice changed from album to album. May have talked about this before, but, Infinity, he had a higher range. It's a clearer sound in his vocals, right? And then as each album progressed, he got a little bit more grittier. And Steve even said it before. Now, he was just voted the AOR top singer from one of those magazines recently. And there's a reason why he's on that list. There's a lot of guys that are on that list that were trying to compete, and he was competing with these guys singing these high notes. So by the time you get to Escape, which I've always said is my favorite album, and maybe it's just because of the songs that I love so much, but on the Frontiers album, maybe the songs aren't hits on the radio as much as Escape. But here's something to think about. By the time he got to Frontiers, his voice was powerful. It was grittier. He was hitting these crazy notes, like on Faithfully. He was singing heavier songs like Edge of the Blade. I mean, this could have been like a hard rock album, and that was kind of direction they were going in. Neil was playing heavier. Neil's so good on that guitar and jamming. He likes to play heavier. I always loved him, like when he was in Hardline, that heavier sound, rougher around the edges. And that's cool to me. It's not so much the Journey sound that we're used to. But see, by the time they got to that point on Frontiers, I think he reached that max, that level, that you can't go beyond that without, I guess, destroying your voice. And I'm sure there's a lot to be said into that. That's probably the reason why he kind of cut back and took a break. He did the Street Talk album, went into a totally different direction, went to the old Motown sound, which he always loved. And it seems like to me, and I know this has been talked about before too, is that Neil kind of pushed him in heavier mode, and he was more R&B. And that's what Neil's always said. He likes that R&B. If they were ever going to do something, it would be like R&B. So I think he kind of got out of that heavier mode into the R&B sound. So by the time Raised on Radio came along, it was back to that R&B sound. And from there, you never got a heavier Steve. And he cut it back. He cut his vocals back, probably because he was straining. It was probably really hard. But that's just what I want to talk about, though, is that ultimate powerful voice that you get on Frontiers. That's the top of the line. I mean, that's if you get to the top of the mountain, that is the top of the mountain. His voice on that album. Go back and listen to all those songs. Now, of course, you got the hits, Separate Ways, which he's hitting some notes on those songs there, like Separate Ways, and Center My Love, it's another good song, After the Fall, and some of the radio hits, but like Rubicon and Troubled Child, and some of these, they're different. They're not that style that you're used to. And the more I listen to Frontiers, man, that's really cool stuff. And I've seen some people say that they like more of the songs that weren't played on the radio. And this is one of those albums that's like that. Those songs that they don't play on the radio, like Frontiers, really cool. And people are missing out. If you just listen to the hits, if you get the greatest hits, that's fine if you're a casual fan. But man, go back and listen to Frontiers and hear Steve wail on those heavier songs. And of course, the slower songs are beautiful, but the heavier songs are phenomenal. And his voice getting up to that register and that with that power is just beyond belief. I mean, that's why he's the best, and that's why I don't think anybody could top that. To get to that point, to get to that high point of that mountain and singing like that, that will never be topped, and maybe Steve, will never be at that point again to sing like he used to, but that's okay because he got to that point. We all get older, the legends, Mickey Mantle, he was a legend when he was at his peak, but, got older. That's just one of those things. You get older. But you go back and you look and you listen to those songs and you go, wow, that's unbelievable. And they reached a new frontier with his vocals, and Steve did too. I mean, that was a new frontier for singers everywhere. That was a bar that I think he set that nobody will ever reach. I'm just saying. But happy anniversary, 41 years. Wow, can't believe it. Frontiers. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And don't stop believing. God bless you.